Hello and welcome to New Meta episode 27. Today we're talking about a few things, but mainly recapping the New Meta away day at ESL Birmingham, other than Adam, Pepe Hands. But the most of the New Meta squad travelled down to ESL Birmingham for a lovely weekend of live Dota 2. So we'll be discussing that, discussing heroes, trends and teams, what it was like, what we think will seep into pubs, what won't seep into pubs, and just general notes from the tournament and all that good stuff. Joining me is Marco. You were in attendance. How are you? Welcome to the pod.
Hello. Yep, was in attendance, and it was absolutely awesome. If only Adam could have been there. Definite Pepe Hands. It was seriously good stuff.
Yeah. And Adam, bit of a feels bad, but you're here nonetheless. I mean, you saw some of it, and you actually played Dota over the weekend, so you're our lifeline into pub Dotes.
Yeah, I played a lot of Dota over the weekend. I didn't watch a ton of the tournament, so I'll just have to react as we go along. I did see the grand finals. I got the tune in a little bit of that. It did not go the way I wanted it to go. Right. Nothing against Secret. I just kind of would like EG to win a tournament.
Yeah, it's so sad.
Post TI5.
Yeah. Well, I mean, needless to say, Marco and guest Nick and brother Joe were all rooting for EG. So it was me and producer Matt that I'm gonna coin producer Matt.
And I say that as a Zai fanboy, but I mean, if you win every tournament, kind of might want to spread around the wealth. Wish RTZ could get a LAN win.
Yeah, feels bad. RTZ never won a LAN.
Is that still true?
I think he's won a LAN, but it's just like he's the third king. So
they won a minor last DPC season. They won a minor. So, yeah,
and he won his first LAN ever, Speed Gaming.
Yeah, true.
So,
yeah, he'll have to settle for that. The no majors meme goes on. Although this isn't a major anyway, so I don't think wouldn't have been put to bed with a win here anyway.
Mini TI.
Yeah, I mean, the caliber was still strong as anything.
Yeah, there was only one team that wasn't there. That's VP. That's the only team that wasn't there.
God, if VP were there instead of Gambit, I mean, kudos to Gambit. They made it all the way to fourth or fifth.
Fourth, I think.
Getting knocked out by Secret. Yeah, fourth. Like, despite them replacing VP, they were still monstrous.
Yeah. Shows what a random team from CIS can do. Eh? Meanwhile, RIP Forward Gaming and NIP. To be fair, Alliance did really bad as well. So RIP EU. In terms of just briefly on how our games have been going, Adam, you mentioned you played a bunch over the weekend. I was going to ask, have you played another round of your RD2L season?
Yeah, it was last night.
Oh yeah,
week 2.
What's the score? What's your percentage or whatever?
So we split the series 1-1. So now we're 2-2 on the season. So we played 4 games, 4 officials. That means there's 12 laning stages total, right?
Yeah.
We've officially, according to Dota Buff, lost 12 lanes in 4 games. And we are 2-2. So I feel pretty good about the fact that we can claw out and scratch out wins when we have no business doing it. Game 1 last night, we came back from 21,000 down. So
that's crazy. That's such a deficit.
The funny thing is, when you play a game where you don't lose lanes and you win lanes, and then you end up being ahead, it's funny because you're going to start looking around going, what do we do now? I'm not familiar with being in the lead, and proceed to throw every game. I think we'll
cross that bridge when we get to it. We got to win. We got to even draw a lane. Like, it's not even just I feel that we lost a lane. It's like Dota Buff explicitly says lane lost, lane lost, lane lost, outcome lost.
That's
for all 12.
So bad.
Yeah.
Well, at least you've got something to work on, I guess, on the laning stage.
Yeah, but that game 1 was pretty epic. So it was and Matt and Gainsworth casted it. Shout out to those guys for staying up late and then having to watch a 64-minute game or something like that, or maybe it was 54. It was a long game, and I did something. So I played Grimstroke, 4-position Grimstroke. It turns out he can D-push for years. If you never get gone on, you just keep spamming out the waves. And I did something I've never done in any game before, where I bought. I looked down. I had 7,000 gold at one point, and I already had Aetherlin's 4-staff Hex. So it's like I was pretty much. It's all you want really as a Grimstroke. And then so I bought a Moonshard for our Wraith King and just gave it to him. I'd never done that before, but I figured might as well. And then I finished Boots of Travel. It's actually nice. I think giving the Moonshard lowered my net worth to where I could afford bots and still have buyback, right? Because your buyback is relative to your net worth. So I gave 4K away to somebody else. So basically I got to spend 6,000 of the 7,000 gold and still have buyback. That was pretty cool. Also, at the end of the game, Matt and Gainsworth were talking about how farmed our Wraith King was and how he had such a good time coming back. And it's like they didn't notice that he just had this 4K net worth swing from somebody giving him like a direct injection of gold. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. Man, this Wraith King's done really well farming. He's literally farmed 4K in the last 12 seconds. Incredible.
Yeah. But we had our team. It's like we have really good team fight execution, and I feel like we're individually, like mechanically, pretty decent too. And we definitely know how to split and just like cause people to like have to move around the map and not die doing it. So we just like toy with people so much.
Yeah.
So if we ever win a lane or just draw a lane, I think we can do pretty well. We were taking fights down 20k and winning because we had Grim Doom combo.
That's pretty dirty.
Yeah, and then like our Wind Ranger was landing double shackles all the time, and we had some sick Graves, and then Night Raw was just Wraith King, just soaking everything. Yeah. So if we ever can put it all together,
be warned if you lose your lanes against this team, you are fucked.
Yeah. There was actually 4 Roshans in that game too, the first time I had seen that. And we lost the first 3 Roshans. Didn't even really contest them. And then we got the 4th one, so the Ags dropped and the Refresher Shard dropped and Cheese and Aegis. So
bonkers.
Then Wind Ranger got the Ags synth, which was pretty solid because he was going to buy it anyways. So it was like, okay, here's 6k gold. Now you can just use that on something else.
Yeah, that's really nice. Well, I mean, I look forward to hearing if you can win a lane on a future episode when we stop by with your RD12 team again. We'll see. So I would ask Marco how your games have been going, but I have been with you inside a stadium. So
we had some PL jungle grind.
Oh god!
Me and you played a couple parties. Yesterday. That's pretty much the extent of my games, and I think it's 50-50. Dota Buff is saying our win rate is, so not terrible, but it does feel bad when you lose 3 PL games in a row trying to complete your jungle.
Just play Turbo, and then use a Quelling Blade to chop it. Or do you guys not have Quelling Blades because you're level?
Level scrub, yeah.
I used mine. I had like a couple. I had like 3 or something, but I used them. Marco failing to get past PL feels bad.
One away from that Sven. And I really want to get that Sven set before slapping some Sven 1 in pubs, as we may talk about.
Yeah. Let's just jump right into the trip. I don't really know where to start. Maybe just the actual locale. Obviously, it's in Birmingham. I've been to 3 events. So I've been to ESL Katowice last year, start Dream League Season 11 this year and then ESL Birmingham as well. Marco's been to more than me. And I mean, for me, this was like head and shoulders above the others in basically every aspect, but particularly in the location of the stadium and the convenience of everything. Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah, I think
the 5 of you that went?
We then had a 6th person as well.
It was the 2 podcasters, the 3 friends of the pod, and then
who's a 6th? Just a friend, 6th. Mutual friend.
Mutual friend.
Yeah.
Unaffiliated friend.
But yeah, this event, I really struggle to think about a negative to it. So obviously, when we're living in the Northwest, getting to Birmingham is so easy, and that is kind of fairly big factor. I mean, when you have to get a 6 or 7 a.m. flight to Poland or something in the winter to then somehow get some random stadium, yeah, it's a bit tedious, but being in Birmingham, so easy to get to. So that aspect ticked. The stadium, like you've mentioned, it's like the best venue I've ever been to for sure. I mean, it seems to be a pretty modern venue. It's hosted for all kind of things, like massive city in the UK. Like, it's going to host loads of great stuff. And then to have a Dota event there, could not have asked for a better setup and production. Then the quality of the games, like, I was a bit worried actually that because this wasn't classed as a major, so last year Birmingham was a major, the first UK major. This year it was just a kind of tournament parallel to DBC, and I was initially worried that would mean that the caliber of teams that go would be a bit naff, but it turned out, like PPD said, it's a mini TI bar VP. I mean, Secret, EG, LGD, Vici, those 4. Then you've got OG, Liquid, 6 teams already, monstrous quality. So the Dota on show was phenomenal. The crowd, I mean, you could talk about that for a while. That was an experience.
The crowd's awesome, yeah. It was a really hype crowd. I tell you what's funny as well, the classic separation between what's classed as a premium ticket, that's usually like £100, versus a standard ticket that's usually can be as little as like a tenner or something, is usually the matter of a couple of meters. Yeah. They separate the seating sections by a couple of meters, and then it's like, oh, now it's not premium anymore. But here it was very separated. It seemed like they sold a ton of premium.
Yeah, the premium was
big premium
nearly
area.
Sold out, it seemed. So the difference being the premium seats would be on the floor of the stadium as opposed to the stands, if you like, yeah. And then with the premium, so I think the view was better. Having tried out both, I think you're closer to screens, therefore that's better.
And you're closer to the actual stage.
And then, yeah, you're close to the stage. The players are walking past you. You can interact with the talent as they're in between games. They're just kind of hanging around on the floor. They're the kind of big ones, really.
The seats were really nice. I mean, the Katowice seats last year were the worst seats ever. Like plastic.
Yeah, and you saw those Paris major rips of what these seats were sitting on. So yeah,
these were like nice leather.
You had to sit for like 8 hours on a plastic lawn chair.
Yeah.
And then like tilt your head up at the sky. Feels bad.
Yeah, that's rough. And also the location, it was both the beauty of the location. It was in this like canal district, really, really nice. Which is surprising for Birmingham because it's not particularly renowned for being a particularly aesthetically pleasing city. But where the stadium is, it's perfectly connected to the train station and where everyone's going to arrive, and the canals. And
yeah, along the canals, you've got these rows of like old, cool-looking pubs and bars and restaurants, and really nice feel to the area.
Yeah, and the convenience of it being in the UK, so we know what we're looking at in terms of where to get food and stuff, versus being in Poland or Sweden where we have to guess what's a supermarket and we don't know where we are.
In Katowice, there was one night we're walking home and there was this kind of grocery convenience shop, but it was just like a hole in the window. And I think they do that because it was late at night, and then also it's freezing cold, so you set up this little hole in the window if you want to buy something. It's like weird stuff like this that you're obviously never going to be used to.
Imagine going past a shop, like a corner shop, a little mini supermarket thing, but rather than a door, it's like a letterbox or like a cat flap. that they hand you milk and then you stick your hand in and give them money. Some bizarre. Also, what's genuinely the most underrated convenience that this event had that others didn't is they actually let you take in food and drink from outside. That is the biggest pog, honestly.
That's huge.
Yeah, because in past ones, you end up forking extortionate stadium prices for food and drink, which is just not what you want to be doing. Especially when you're in there for so long.
Yeah, and say, compared to, say, the Stockholm Major, that's in a nice big arena and whatever, but that one was a lot more isolated in terms of what was nearby. There was basically just that one supermarket a bit further away and one Subway or something, but where the Birmingham one was, you'd step out and you could easily get to multiple stores like Sainsbury's or like food places.
Sainsbury's?
Adam's a big fan of Sainsbury's.
And also, not only Sainsbury's, but... Oh, sorry. I got a message from Craig, but it's actually just a standard message. Whew, thought he was disconnected. Craig, what are you doing, online? What I was going to say is also fresh air. Like, it was all the supermarkets and stuff. It was super easy to get out into nice fresh air, whereas in Sweden, it's in this like shopping centre complex. And so you basically have to choose between going to get food deep in this shopping centre or getting some fresh air, and oftentimes you only have time for one between games or something. Anyway.
I thought you were going to say not only do they have Sainsbury's, they had Tesco and Morrison's.
They didn't have Morrison's. They had Tesco, though.
They had Tesco.
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Pog to that.
I thought you were just going to list all the grocery stores you've gone to.
Is it worth giving Ed a shout out? Maybe. We had buffet breakfast each day for like £4 from hacking the system, basically. That I don't know if that. I mean, I'm sure they have this in America because it was like a diner style breakfast place where all the breakfasts are like bottomless. So you order a sausage and egg muffin, and then you can get as many as you want.
A buffet?
Not really, because they don't advertise it as such. But say you ordered a pancake stack breakfast thing. When you're done with it, if your plate's empty, they'll bring you another one for free.
All right.
But you can't get whatever you want, if you know what I mean. It has to be the same thing that you've ordered. It was a bit weird, but it was good price-wise. Saved us a lot of cash.
I'll tell you what, though. These events, I mean, if you're going to do an event in the UK, you really should get Greg's really should get themselves to the event, because the hype and craze at the institution that is Greg's gets so much attention. Like, even, I mean, there was the moment when Cap had got some randomer in the crowd to buy a sausage roll from Greg's, give it to Blitz at the start of a cast, and go, "Here, Blitz, try this sausage roll from Greg's." The whole crowd's just going wild. Like, the game's just started, but who gives one? Funny, yeah. Like, Greg's, I mean, we should apply to Greg's and be like, "You're missing a trick here by not being at this event."
Yeah. I'm just going to shout it out now as well while we're talking about potential sponsorships. We didn't go to ESL Birmingham last year because we had exams.
Yeah, so sad.
But last year, there was obviously some sort of... somehow DHL, the logistics company, did something that became legendary.
Well, it was Slacks that led it. He did loads of content work with DHL, and I think that was shown. And then in the event, he did loads of work in the arena, like going around the seats and stuff in his DHL kit and doing content just in between games with like in a DHL outfit or something. And that's where it all was born. But then Slacks wasn't at this event, which is a bit sad, really, because then he could have carried on that legacy. So instead, there was just the memory, if you like, of last year. So any DHL mention got massive woos.
Yeah, Shiva was there in DHL stuff, but it wasn't quite... there wasn't as much content. It was just sort of the odd drop.
Yeah.
But it was so funny because, well, two things were really funny about it. The first one is, you know how they do the classic... ESL 1 Birmingham is brought to you by... And then they list off the sponsors. Intel, MSI, Vodafone. And then it gets to DHL, which is after Vodafone. Before they get to DHL, actually, when they're listing the other ones, everyone in the crowd's like, ooh. they get past Vodafone, they go DHL, and everyone's like huge cheer. So random, but it was great. I loved it. Big cheers for DHL.
Yeah, the crowd was a massive positive to it all. Everyone was so enthusiastic.
Yeah, so much more enthusiastic than the other crowds.
Yeah, so much energy.
How long were your sebs?
For long. Like the crowd seb was definitely 4-figure battle pass.
Yeah, it was interesting because the longest sebs were consistently in the first series of the day.
Yeah.
By the last series of the day, everyone's like tired and voice boxes are dying. Apart from the guy behind us cheering for Secret. I mean, that's another story in of itself. But people definitely got super tired shouting Seb. Although in the grand final, the Observer, I can't remember the Observer's name.
It was JJ, which is Pimp Uncle, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. You probably saw it if you were watching. He would get his own chat wheel up, which was just full of Sebs, and just like spin the chat wheel, which would prompt the crowd to do a massive Seb. So that was pretty fun.
It was the most fun one was when it first started, but then, like early in the event when OG played and like Seb's obviously playing, like that was when it was
biggest,
the biggest because most relevant.
Someone killed. It was funny as well because I think in one of the two games of OG, Seb. I was going to say he got first blood, but I actually think he died as first blood. And then a couple of people from Liquid did the Seb chat wheel, which the crowd was already doing because Seb had fed first blood, so everyone was just like...
Everyone's just exploding.
Yeah, it's so funny. Also, on the DHL, Adam, it was so bizarre. The whole crowd was full on chanting DHL, DHL, like during a game. It was so weird. And then Blitz and Cap were like, I don't know if I've ever heard a sponsor get a shout. What is happening here? It's like, I don't know why people were cheering for DHL. It was obviously strong in the memory.
Yeah, I don't know. Why are they... I mean, it's a shipping company, right?
Why it's so random. Why are they even at this event?
That's what Brother Joe said to me at one point. He was like, I wouldn't even know how to give money to DHL. Like, I don't know what the point of this advertisement is. I can't change my consumer behavior to benefit DHL anyway.
Yeah, it's just like business to business, global logistics company or something. And it's like, maybe they're just hoping for that one CEO as a ESL Birmingham to set up a company 10 years later and strike a contract with DHL.
Yeah. I guess it's similar to the Mercedes-Benz. That's one that we've talked about before as well.
ESL strong.
Waiting for the gamers to get older.
Yeah.
Where they can afford a Benz.
All you tech nerds raking in the money. You'll remember your first ESL event.
Like, we'll all be MVPs.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll remember Puppy and Solo getting 3 Mercedes-Benz in a row. Last word on the sort of format before we get into the actual Dota itself. One interesting thing I thought about this event was that they basically chose to do the upper bracket round 1 at the hotel and instead showed lower bracket round 1 at the event, which meant that we actually, despite getting to the grand final, we only saw EG twice. And yet, so that's the downside, but the plus side being that we saw, I don't know how many teams, 7 teams overall, or 8 teams, as opposed to 5.
It was 6 or 7.
6 or 7, right.
That's pretty good.
It's
more
good,
teams.
Yeah, it's really bizarre though, because we saw, if you went to the event, you would have seen EG twice, and you would have seen Secret 5 times.
Because they did the lower bracket, right?
Because they did the whole lower bracket, yeah.
Yeah.
That's an interesting conundrum.
Well, as a Zai fanboy, that would be wonderful.
Yeah. I don't know if you've got any thoughts on that, Marco. Was that something you liked, or I guess, is it game team dependent?
I mean, it's just that if you to show this upper bracket round 1 at the event, I mean, it's just a matter of, I guess you could do that, but you then do 4 matches on day 1 and day 2. Then your obvious lower bracket final, grand final on the 3rd day. But I think they've just made a judgment of we don't want to do 4 matches on both days because, like, if you saw at the Sweden Stockholm major, that was going into midnight 1 a.m. territory, and
because they all went to third games.
Yeah,
right?
so three matches per day, or the grand final day, is probably the safer, more just kind of is a bit of a safer bet. And yeah, it is nice to see the fourth match, but it also is a pretty long day to have as well. So it's not. I don't think it's necessary from a viewer point of view to get 4 matches in.
Oh no, I definitely agree. I think 3 matches a day is perfect.
But yeah, I don't think you can change what. So basically my point is, I don't think you can fit those upper bracket round 1s in. You just kick out lower bracket round 1.
Yeah, that's the point.
That's the trade-off. Okay, I guess that you do that so you can. Do you see more teams?
Yeah, well, that's the point. Is that most tournaments don't do lower bracket round 1. They do that at the hotel. And
Marco
most teams
has talked himself into it. He's got
most
around.
Teams, most tournaments will have upper bracket round 1 and lower bracket round 2.
Rather than lower bracket round 1.
Yeah. So the trade-off being you see more teams, but it means upper bracket round 1, which is quite important games, you don't see. And it means that the team that goes through the upper bracket, you literally only see them twice. But one of them's a best of 5, so I liked it personally. I thought it was. I liked the format. I liked seeing. I would have been disappointed going into this event if I didn't see Liquid or OG, which is what would have happened. So I was more than happy to see OG and Liquid rather than upper bracket games that all of which involve teams I'd already see anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. No real comment.
So moving on to the Dota, I mean, Adam mentioned he's a Zai fanboy. I wonder if he's jealous that I touched the hand of Zai.
Why do you always get to touch all the hands, man?
Yeah, man. I've got
touched all of VG.
I touched secret hands, didn't touch any EG hands.
Did you just get like high five slaps when they walk through or something?
Yeah, we were on the wrong side for EG, which sucked, but we got secret. Like we got secret twice actually. I've touched all the secret hands twice.
Yeah, the puppy hands were definitely hands of a killer / someone who would smash monitors. They were nice and.
Well, actually, it was really interesting. I mean, I've been known. Obviously, I touched Vici Gaming's hands at Sweden, and I said that they had the softest hands in professional Dota. Having touched more hands at this event, I stand by the comment. They still remain the softest overall hand texture, but it was really interesting. So, of the secret team, one of them had quite coarse hands, and it was actually Mid1, who I didn't suspect. That caught me off guard. I was expecting maybe Puppy or Yapsaw to have a bit coarser hands, but Mid1 had coarse hands, and the rest of them were pretty soft. I don't know if you noticed this, Marco, but EG in the fight, I only noticed it in the final, but I imagine it was the same. When they'd done all their walking down the aisles, touching hands with all the fans, when they got to their seats, the manager, who I can't remember the name of,
did he Purell them?
The woman.
Did he hand sanitize?
The woman, yeah. Yeah, he handed out baby wipes and they all wiped their hands.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's so funny.
That is funny.
I was about to say, like, you could totally do a coordinated biological vector attack on somebody with the hand slap.
Yeah.
Smart.
That's what I was thinking of. I was thinking of, like, you could do all sorts of disgusting things, like put your hand in like water or something before and just see their disgusting faces.
That would tilt them so hard.
Yeah. I touched LGD's hands as well. I also got LGD's autographs because me and Joe accidentally walked to not accidentally, we went to the signing session bit and it happened to be right at the end of the LGD signing, so the queue was really short. So I was like, oh, sure, I'll hop in. Got a picture with FY God.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
What did you get them to sign?
They had cards.
Oh, nice.
It was really funny because I was wearing a Team Liquid top and I was preparing. I was gonna make them sign my Team Liquid top, which would have been really weird. But they had signs. They in fact, it's so funny interacting with pros. Especially Chinese pros, where there's a language barrier. They literally could not care less about entertaining you. So FY doesn't even like make eye contact,
so
and he's already prepared
for the picture.
No, not the picture was.
Oh,
the picture was fine. He cracked a little smile. That was nice. But the signing stuff, he'd already pre-prepared about 5 cards with his signature, so you don't even get to see him signing it. He just hands you one. He's already signed.
Yeah, and then the phrase "hands you one" is also too enthusiastic. Like you're saying, he just moves his finger like 2 inches to push the card towards you.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, it's so funny.
Badass FY.
Yeah, he's stone cold.
Matt had a funny story with going to the signing session in his Liquid jersey, and then he tried to get to Liquid or went there early.
He tried. Is this where he ends up with Alliance?
Ends up with Alliance.
So he tried to go to the talent signing session.
And ended up being Alliance, and I can't remember which Alliance player it was.
Insania.
It was Insania that was then like saying how Team Liquid was his favorite team and the team that he looks up to loads, and that his manager had banned him from.
No, it was he talking to Insania, saying like mentions, I was going to make you sign this or something, and then Insania reveals, like pulls his top. He's wearing a hoodie, like a Alliance hoodie, and underneath he's got a Team Liquid like t-shirt on or something.
Oh yeah,
it's so weird.
And that was it. Like if he shows his Team Liquid jersey or something, he's in deep shit. Like
he gets fired.
Like gotta stick to protocol.
Yeah, that was funny.
That's awesome.
Shout out to Matt. He did very well getting photos with everyone. That was good.
KMM. As he is known.
I might start calling him Producer Matt just to give everyone a sort of name, like brother or guest. Gotta keep it
guest
real.
Nick, brother Joe. Producer Nick is kind of long.
Producer Matt.
Oh, sorry, Producer Matt.
Yeah, he's also not really the producer.
Yeah, it's kind of misleading.
But
Friend Matt.
Friend Matt. Yeah.
Caster Matt.
Caster Matt.
Yeah, 6L is a casting career.
Or the lobby creator, something having to do with in-house Matt.
Master of bots.
Yeah. Bot Matt.
Yeah. Marco, I mean, in terms of the actual Dota, I don't know if you want to start off on anything in particular that was fun or...
It was fun watching Sumail. I'll throw that out right now. People might hate on him. I don't know if there are any haters, because in the past he's obviously been this ego kind of guy and hasn't always lived up to his ego when EG have been a bit naff. But I think this event, you can come away saying this guy's like top 2 mid, top 3 mid without a doubt. I would obviously be biased and say top 1, but he was seriously schooling. Particularly, I don't know if you saw any games, Adam, or heard anything about Sumail's mid heroes.
Nope.
He played Lesh was probably
his main, yeah.
Probably his main.
I did see. That's all a little bit of the final. I guess they did stomp over a game with him as Lesh, right?
Unbelievable. I get shouted out for not going BKB. Sometimes it's justified. Sometimes it's not. Sumail is like, I'm not going BKB on Lesh. I'm going race car, glass cannon. You ain't touching me. I'm going to outmaneuver you kind of build. Running around at 550 movement speed with his BOTs, Kaya Yasha, Ools, like 0 defense. Well, I guess Ools can be defensive, but other than that, just max damage kind of build and just like running rings around the enemy.
Yeah, I mean, he did bits and he did really well.
Like another.
He just has. You got to trust that your team will help you, and that lets you get away with the greed, which is like the no BKB build.
Yeah, his team was the...
Lesh was so fast, and in a couple of the games he had S4 and Darkseer as well, which again surged around forever.
Another notable shout-out was his game as SF against TA, and I think that might have been the groups, actually. And I think it was S4 interviewed after that game. They were drafting and asked Sumail who he wanted, and Sumail was like, "Give me SF." Secret already had TA on mid one, who's when we thought about mid one's iconic heroes, it's like Ember, TA. To me, they're like his 2 iconic heroes. Anyway, they've got a mid one TA, but Sumail says, "Give me SF," and S4 said all the team were like, "You sure about this? Isn't this not meant to be a counter to SF?" Sumail's like, "Nah, give me it. Totally schools mid one is 1v1 mid and proceeds to do to just carry the game on SF. I'm very certain that was a group stage game, but that set the precedent of how good he was going to be, and he lived up to it on the main stage. He played Storm against TA, smashing it, getting again against mid one. He was solo killing him as Storm versus TA. I think I played one Crob game they lost, but otherwise it was Lesh, Storm, SF. He was just schooling on. TA as well, yeah.
On so the games at the event, he played Lesh, 4 games of Lesh, 1 game of TA, 1 game of Storm Spirit, 1 game of Death Prophet. And out of those, the only hero that strikes me as like a non-Sumail hero is Death Prophet. And interestingly, that was the 5th game in the final that they lost.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's...
But in that 5th game, they banned Storm and Lesh, right?
Yeah. And they did second phase, yeah.
And Krob is pretty good.
Krob is pretty good, yeah. Team Secret won with a Krob in their game 3 of the final. We saw it, I think, once before that as well.
Yeah, Krob Ags, first item or second item after Ools, was very common in that tournament. Definitely the most notable, and to my eyes, kind of the only relevant Ags pickup post Ags patch in terms
of that event, right?
Yeah.
Because there's lots of relevant Ags in pub Dota now, but
but in terms of early pickups, not just for 5th when it's of course going to get relevant, but in thinking core items.
Yeah, I think Clinks is one of those in pub Dota, but I don't think Clinks would ever get picked in a pro game, especially after they nerfed his laning stage even more.
They picked it. It's been picked. I think it was picked once in this event. So it did get one.
That's more than it usually gets picked. He definitely went unpicked for like a whole patch. So
yeah. While we're on the subject of mid heroes, I really enjoyed watching Afonje play Gambit mid heroes. That was really, really fun. He played in the first game of the entire event. Gambit versus Liquid was one of the best games of the whole event. And he played a Queen of Pain in that game that was really, really good. And Afterlife, the offlaner for Gambit, played a Sand King that was just making plays forever. So yeah, I like watching Afonje. He did the classic. Lesh and TA are definitely top tier mids. They came up across the tournament basically. Lesh and TA, I think, the most prominent mids.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Afro Ninja?
Yeah. I think it's Afro Ninja. I don't think there's an R, is there?
It's funny that different casters were calling him different things at the event.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not an R. If you're gonna pronounce it as it's written, it's Afon in JE.
I've only ever heard it with the R. Afro Ninja or Ninja. I don't know.
Afro Ninja.
Yeah, some I think. Yeah, they split between a couple of times. They did say Afro Ninja a few times, but mostly they said Afonje.
Afro Ninja sounds weird and not right. Speaking about Gambit.
Yeah.
And the TA that you mentioned. In game 3, Gambit had TA and they had a Matu Brood. I think it was Matu. And in that game, so obviously there are spiderlings to be slain by the TA. He had, I think it was that game that the record CS was set. So it was something like 22 minutes in the game. This TA had 330 blasters.
Yeah.
Literally. Absolutely insane. And it was also insane because it was only about 50 of those last hits that were spiders. So take that away and you're still going, 280 last hits at 22 minutes on a TA? Excuse me?
Yeah.
That guy was phenomenal.
Yeah, the record for last hits in a game to be broken in the last game of the entire event by Nisha's Naga Siren.
Yeah, the Naga.
Dirty Naga. 600 last hits, 38 minutes. So, yeah, that was a bonkers. Some great creep hitters from the position ones.
Yeah, unbelievable. CSing. Sticking on Gambit, I'd also give a shout out to the Immersion Earth Spirit. So in the 2 games, Gambit beat Secret. They had Immersion on Earth Spirit in both games.
You're talking about his 17-1-16 game or something?
That was crazy. That game was. That is one for the Dota archive in terms of Earth Spirit played optimally.
So the 2 games that Gambit beat Vici, yeah, that Earth Spirit, or both Earth Spirit performances were just out of this world.
Yeah. By the way, you've played with Immersion Earth Spirit in a pub?
And then, yeah, it's so cool that there was a pub that I played with him, playing Earth Spirit, and so he was 4 Earth Spirit, we had a 5 Oracle, I was 3 Necro off lane. I just had the easiest game ever, I think it was an enemy spec. It was a really high rank spec, actually, CSing decently, but it's just a spec, I'm a Necro. My job that game was so easy, just, what's it called, like last hit simulator or something. Meanwhile, this Earth Spirit and Oracle was moving around the map, getting kills for days, and yeah. So it's pretty cool to have played with that iconic guy now.
Yeah.
Also, in Secret's first game against Gambit, they first banned Earth Spirit, but in the second game, typical to Secret style, I guess, threw the 1 game up, and then in game 2, Secret let Gambit pick Earth Spirit first phase, but then obviously Secret win. So, because it's kind of typical that Secret go a bit experimental when they go game 1 up.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, Gambit Immersion's Earth Spirit was unbelievable.
Yeah. Moving more towards the sort of last day of the event, or the last like couple of days or whatever, I will say, I definitely wasn't a Zai hater before. That's like way too strong, but I wasn't a Zai lover. I was just like, oh, Zai's like an offlaner that loads of people love, whatever. I don't see the hype, but sure. But after watching Zai play at this event, I'm like fully on the Zai train with Adam.
Isn't he just a god gamer?
I think he was the best player at the event, I think.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's I don't even think it's like disputable. It was so good, it's crazy. Like just doing so much work. It's actually unbelievable. Like winning lanes. It was like what Marco was saying about Sumail beating mid. It was interesting in the final because Sumail and Mid One played TA versus Storm on both sides across the games, and Sumail won. I mean, he went even as Storm Spirit and then like won, which is a win, obviously, and then beat Mid One's Storm as TA. So it was just like a display of being better than Mid One at laning.
Yeah.
The same thing happened with Zion S4 in the final, where they were either side of a.
I mean, on the offlane versus offlane, I would say that in 2 of the games, S4 was the better 3, but in the 3 games that Secret won, Zai was the better 3. And I know they did have sometimes these one-on-one offlane matchups or in the same lane sometimes.
I disagree. I think Zai in both of the games that Secret lost, Zai was the only player that did anything.
Yeah, I guess in EG it's like Sumail carrying, but in the Secret
2
one,
games
it was more Zai.
Don't look up S4 Tidehunter.
Yeah, that's a yikes. I mean, the S4 Tide, that was questionable. That was fucking bad, actually, in that first game. There was one moment where he didn't ravage, and it was like...
Oh, no, that was so hard to watch. He had about 3 seconds, just let a ravage rip on 3 heroes clumped to the side of the Rosh pit, and for some reason didn't. Oh, no, man.
And then he had a yikes in the final game when he, like, fed twice in a row. That was a rough, but I don't know. But, yeah, Zai was just doing bits. In the 2 games that Secret lost, he was the only relevant hero. I love a best of 5 when it goes to 5 games. The development of the drafting and the strats and like the mind games are so fun. I mean, what I think maybe the best example of the sort of mind games is the hero Io, which basically was banned for the first phase banned pretty much in every game, the entire tournament.
Yeah.
It finally gets through the draft in the first phase of the draft in game 2 of EG Secret. And interestingly, Chen has also been a first phase ban for most of the games. Well, pretty much all of the games that we've seen. And the Puppy and Bulba do this weird thing where I guess they let both of them out in the knowledge that each team will get one of these 2 broken supports. EG take Chen, Secret take Io Gyro with their 2nd and 3rd picks. And basically, it's just underwhelming, and it doesn't do anything, and Io Gyro looked terrible.
So Io lost game 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
Because they had an IOPA, right, as well.
In
Game 4.
Yeah. See,
They had an
I
IO
don't
and an
know
Alpha,
if
yeah,
it's
and it
like
was so underwhelming.
I don't know if it's IO is bad or it's like I don't think PA is good right now.
oh yeah,
Nisha
it's
PA,
nice.
though, was a 17-win streak, was it?
Yeah, they run the PA when it's a good PA game. Nisha,
Yeah.
but I agree in the sense that the best. I agree also, and I would throw into that. I think Gyrocopter's a terrible hero as well. Even with IO, I think Gyro's bad.
think Gyro is like only good right now if the other team has like a Warlock, because then you can just pep the Warlock Golem with your flak and still hit everybody.
Yeah,
But-
it's like so niche. It's
No,
just
that's
a
what
bad
it's-
hero. Yeah,
And Warlock's being banned, right? So it's like that's not
Yeah.
gonna happen.
Warlock it did get some bans, got some picks.
Yeah, Warlock was an interesting one. It was always first phase ban or pick, I feel.
More or less, yeah. It did get through sometimes.
It did, yeah.
But what I would say also on the IO, the best it looked was definitely when EG played it with the Lifestealer, because Lifestealer is actually a good hero, and the IO then makes it better. And EG were actually ahead in that game 3, ended up losing to Anti-Mage basically getting really farmed and just Krob and Enigma being very annoying, obviously late in the game.
But yeah, the Chen was an interesting one to see come back and forth. Looking at, like, trying to look at the Dota buffs, it looks like they did let it through. So yeah, like game 2 when EG get Chen, Secret get IO, but then I think thereafter Chen never came back out. So both captains maybe thinking, oh, right, Chen's too good, let's get rid.
That was certainly the sentiment. I mean, Puppy said that Chen is just Omega broken. And it's interesting because certainly I think Puppy's, the way Secret used Chen was definitely the most impressive of any of the teams.
Yeah.
They use it, and it's purely just from using recall more or less.
Yeah, that's
way they
what makes
use
them
recall.
super broken, and that's what doesn't get used in the pub Dota because you have to coordinate with 5 random people. But the coddle Ag's ability just being on a hero from level 1 is insane.
Yeah, because
it's a joke.
to think about playing against that spell. So if you try and think, oh, optimally, I'm playing against Chen with this reload. Suppose you play that game thinking every moment, okay, there's a chance that Chen's going to relocate another enemy hero in. That just in itself is, all right, am I going to play scared as anything, like the entire laning stage, even mid-game? And then you might say, oh, but maybe you can know if someone can get reload in or not, because you can only be reload in if you've not taken damage. And then it's like, okay, let's now think about how much computational power is needed to be informed of all of this information just to be aware and like defensive to the Chen reload. Like, it's just a joke. And then if you think about what happens in reality when you just don't think about all this Chen OP-ness and all of a sudden there's another hero teleported on your face and it's just
a core comes on top of you.
And it's like, oh, what the hell can you do?
Yeah, I mean, for the ultimate example of Chen, why Chen is broken, particularly in the hands of Puppy, is I think game 2, LGD versus Secret, where that game, Chen just goes off. The recall plays are just, they're so simple, but yet they seem, it's like what Marco said, it's so game-breakingly hard to play around.
So hard.
So there's a moment particularly that really illustrated it for me where Nisha's playing Sven and just hitting creeps top. Nonchalantly, it's not particularly a power spike or anything. And then they gank, I think they gank Arme's Monkey King bot with literally just Chen Spirit. And so Sven is hitting creeps, goes behind a tree for literally a second or 2 seconds, and suddenly appears bot with God Strength. They kill the enemy carry. Nisha just TP's top again. It's like a free lane again.
Yeah,
it's
you
like,
turn every
it's
hero
so
into
easy.
Kanka.
Yeah, it's just so easy. The Chen was incredible. And honestly, yeah, go on.
Oh, just 15-second cooldown as well. So
That's so crazy, yeah.
yeah.
I think, for me, what separated Team Secret from the other teams is it seemed, by the end of the event, like they had so many... The drafting and the number of strats they had seems just higher than other teams. So thinking about it, they have this first pick Chen that just seems unbeatable. But they also have this first pick Enigma that seems equally unbeatable that they ran and they never lost with it. And Yapzor has like a 90% win rate on Enigma or something crazy.
Yeah, they seem to, more so than any other team by quite a bit, have that Enigma scare factor of it's weird how they can first pick Enigma so confidently and do so well with it, but for certain other teams would not be as effective with that hero first pick.
Because Guy can get something out of every lane, regardless of whether or not he has a support there. Also, the range creep denies help, but also Zai is also able to be a 3 that falls back into a 4 and lets the greedy Yabsor 4 become a huge core.
I mean, yeah, is it always Zai that plays the Enigma?
Because
I think
it's Yapzor that plays.
Okay, it's Yapzor. Yeah, I thought. Yeah.
That is a good point. I mean, in the game, not only on Enigma, but that was when it was most obvious when Yapzor plays this Enigma. Zai, like Adam says, he does really well in the lanes to get what he can, and also if he gets crushed in the lane, which did happen in one of these games, he will just become a position 3.5. When Yapzor plays Enigma, he doesn't play it like these other teams. So EG they first picked Enigma themselves in game 1 of the finals, but Crit plays it as a 4. He doesn't play it as, and I mean, Yapzor just plays it as an actual full-on core. He has the highest CS in the game.
Yeah, Secret are definitely unique in most often having 2 3.5 kind of positions, where Zai and Yapzor equal net worth.
Zai ends up 4th on the net worth quite a bit of the time on the team.
Yeah, if it goes late, then it's kind of certain.
Yeah,
even if it's on like Rubik, Yapzor's going to get same net worth as Zai.
Sometimes, yeah, more or less. And it seems to work out better for them when that happens. When Yapzor plays like Io and he's like a 5, just it didn't work as well. Which is perhaps maybe partly due to Io. It did lose all 3 of its games in the grand finals, but also probably stylistically doesn't fit quite as well.
The last game, I think the Naga pick was really the crux of game 5. So the last pick Secret had was the 1, and the very last ban that EG did was Anti-Mage, and that's, I guess, kind of because they've seen Secret play a few times earlier in the tournament, obviously lost the game to Anti-Mage, so they're thinking, all right, let's get rid of Anti-Mage. But then Secret were able to then whack out this Naga pick that, I mean, it felt like kind of a ace card, because we hadn't seen Naga ever.
We saw Arteezy play.
Nisha and an illusion hero.
And Nisha on Naga is so bloody insane.
Yeah. We saw Arteezy play a Naga against LGD.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, that was good, and they won with that. Interestingly as well, just going back to Secret having all these strats, then in the grand final, they give EG the Warlock first pick, and then they just do this Nyx Darkseer. Because EG have to ban Enigma, they have to ban Shen, I don't know what their other ban was, and suddenly they come out with this Nyx Darkseer that's, Darkseer slips through the pool, basically, which actually Secret had been banning themselves to deny EG picking DS.
Nyx is a common ban as well, first phase.
Yeah.
And then together, they're both a very strong combo.
Yeah, and it's just a classic best of 5. You win with these heroes that suddenly, like, EG have more to ban, and some of their original bans slip out, and then it just opens it up by the end, and you can find yourselves. It reminds me a lot of the TI8 grand finals, where suddenly by the game 5, all of these previous bans like Silencer and TB and Kunkka were out of the pool. That were in the pool again, sorry.
Yeah, what I think is funny is the game 5 drafts as well, EG kind of have more of a Secret lineup, and then a Secret and EG lineup, because Secret have got Darkseer, Nyx, and EG do love running a Darkseer plus another, like a Nyx or a Barra they've done before with Crit S4. They love this 2 melee off lane. And then they've also got Naga Nisha, which is, Naga, very similar to Arteezy. But then on the EG side, like you say, they first picked Warlock, big team fight. Also got Mars, big team fight. Krob, that's very much more mid one hero than Smail. Smail's not usually a big team fight mid hero like Krob. So then EG have kind of end up drafting kind of a secret lineup, and you get this switch in styles, which is interesting.
Well, I was going to say it's interesting. EG run Mars as a 4, and all the other teams run it as a 5. All the other teams run it as a 3, rather. But Crit plays this Mars. I thought that was mildly interesting.
Yeah, that was quite cool. There was one moment in that game 5 where Naga did a song and was TPing away. Crit teleports to the shrine and throws a spear to interrupt the Naga, which was literally, 20 Dota units of range away from
not even that,
nudging the Naga, stopping her TP and killing her for certain. And if that had happened, this grand final could have gone on an extra 20 minutes, and you never know. Honestly, it was so close. Also, talking the bans of that game. So, EG's ban's kind of weird. They ban Enigma, Fur. They also banned Batrider, and I think maybe that's because S4's bat in game 4 was very, very, very dominant. So maybe they thought that Secret would be interested in picking the bat as one of the first 2 picks, and they had 2 picks because they were picking second. Maybe they were worried about that counter pick, so they banned the bat. But then, most interestingly, EG's third ban was on Shadow Demon. And so, like we've been talking about all these heroes and how impact they were in the Nyx and Darkseer in particular, you have to, in retrospect, go, the Shadow Demon ban versus something like a Nyx or Darkseer feels a bit painful.
There's definitely mind games at play. Bulba likely either thought, well, letting Darkseer and Nyx out of the pool will benefit us more than Secret, because like you said, that's a classic EG lineup. So Bulba might have thought, well, I won't pick Darkseer Nyx. Either Secret pick it, and they won't be as good as we are, or they try and do their own Secret thing, and then we can potentially get the Darkseer Nyx.
And then Puppy outplays that by thinking, okay, if we force EG to play this Secret way of more team fighty, less individual aggression, I as Puppy know that Secret can execute that not that well, or maybe it's harder to execute, or maybe they just know they're better, know like EG's not that great on that style, and then just get mind games. But it's really cool seeing a best of 5 play out 5 games.
Yeah. Just a word also on why the Naga was so insanely good this game. And it was basically because of Song of the Siren. They were up against Warlock, Doom, Mars, Spec, Krob. Literally all 5 of those heroes have a huge teamfight ultimate. And so what would happen in these fights is that, EG began to try and play around it a bit, but what would more or less happen in these fights was EG would use these big teamfight ultimates, and then Nisha would press R, Song of the Siren, and just completely reset the fight. And so it happened a couple of times where someone gets doomed, Monkey King gets doomed, they just song, back away, and then they come back in, there's no doom. Yeah,
and it's so huge because Naga, her kit, damage output, etc., does not depend on using song. It's just her using it entirely defensively doesn't take anything away from the rest of Secret's style and game winning conditions. So it just completely nullifies the entirety of EG's strength, which was these big ultimates, as Stan says. And just the ultimate counter in there. Oh, your ults are gone. All right, now do you want to fight us when we're all these, when you're totally reliant on your ults, GG. Mentioning that is a really smart pick.
One thing that I think will affect pub Dota is, because it's already a popular pick, although it's always in my mind when I pick this hero in this position, I'll get to it in a sec, a lot of pros don't do this, or it's not in the right position, but Shadow Shaman as a position 5 actually was picked quite a lot. Puppy played Shadow Shaman 5, Fly played Shadow Shaman 5, X Nova played Shadow Shaman 5. I don't know what your opinion is on it, Adam, as a 5 player in pubs, but Shadow Shaman 5 was on the menu in this tournament at least.
I've tried it before it, and I didn't really care for it because I feel like he's so gold reliant.
Yeah,
but I mean, his spells in a vacuum are very strong, and but he just needs the levels and the gold. I feel like he scales really well with both. He needs the Aether Lens and then the cast range talent at 15, and you want to get the 20 and get that super long shackle. But I say that, but even if he just gets down wards right in a fight, that's enough, or just the Siege of Tower. So it is a high value ult to place on a 5 for sure.
I wonder if you play it as a 5 that you max your Hex rather than your Shackle, because the benefit, of you get Ether Lens so that you can cast your spells from further away, and Shackle, obviously you can't move when you cast it, so you're largely vulnerable. Yeah, so if you play it as a 5, you don't have that golden XP to get you those OP cast range stuff. So max W instead, your Hex, so you can run in Hex and then run out. Maybe could be a thing.
Yeah, you're right. In the game 5, Puppy played Shadow Shaman. He went 2-0-2. So he went Shackles level 1. Maybe there was a rune fight or something. Then he goes Aethershock, Shackles. But then after going 2-0-2, he then maxes Hex. So he's got Hex maxed at level 9. Then he goes back to max Shackles. Then he gets to his final 2 points in Aethershock. Obviously leveling the ult and his talents as he goes.
And also the idea of, he needs... I mean, it's debatable to say whether he needs Ether Lens or XP for his cast range talent to be relevant. Because then, if he's a 5, then there's another hero playing 4. And so in this case, we've got a Nyx frontlining a bit more, gives you the space to get spells off as your 5. So maybe if you've got a bit more frontlining heroes on that 3-4 role, you can justify the 5 Shaman.
Then all he needs is Tranquil Boots.
Tranquil Boots to run around.
I mean, he needs to be fast. He is very slow.
Yeah,
Trank's Windlace.
Yep. For sure.
That's an interesting point to bring up, because Matt actually went to the Team Liquid signing and he asked Kuroki a question while he was at the signing. He said, why do... So this is something that Guess Nick, a true and tested position 5 player, noticed that all of the position 5s, they weren't really going Arcanes ever. They were going Tranquils almost always. And he was saying how he doesn't understand how the team doesn't run into mana problems all the time, which is a fair point. So then that prompted Matt to ask Kuroki, why do all the 5s get Tranquils at this tournament? And Kuroki said, well, you've got to be really fast to get around the map, to get to all your cores that are dying all the time. So basically, move speed. And I think this tournament continues the trend of move speed becoming more and more valued, particularly in the pro scene, but across Dota as a whole. Yeah,
on the mana point, one thing I noticed for a bit from watching the games was that the position 4 heroes would always have clarities on the body, and they'd often have tranquils because but would always have a clarity or 2. And I guess, why? Well, that's because they know that the position 5 wants and prefers to have that tranquils for the speed. Whereas in pub matches, I would imagine it's common that your position 4s and whatnot are going to be less self-sufficient and maybe more expecting of, where's my arcane boots, rather than bringing their own clarities and consumables. So yeah, the pros definitely show that it can work, that you get tranks on your 5. Just means that your other heroes have got to be a bit more self-sufficient, but then it's all for the greater good.
Yeah, I bring out tranquil, or I bring out clarities all the time in my games.
For your other teammates?
For myself and my teammates.
And your teammates, yeah.
Yeah, like that Grimstroke game. I mean, I had Aetherland, so at one point I did have mana boots, but after that I didn't sound like I got mana boots again. I just kept bringing out clarities.
Yeah, more efficient. Shipping out clarities and styles when you're pushing can be super high value.
Open AI strat, huh?
Honestly, yeah, it can be so good.
Yeah. And another thing that I always love about Dota tournaments, not necessarily being there live, but just in general, is I really like the stylistic differences between the teams, and the hero differences between the teams is something that I love, because it's what makes Dota great, is that even at the tip-top level, it's open to interpretations, open to creativity, and teams have totally different personalities and play styles. It's not like Dota is solved and teams are all trying to do exactly the same thing with the same heroes.
Not trying to purposely rip on LoL, but one of the things I've heard about League of Legends is that there seems to be this defined mold of how to play, and that the pros all do the same kind of strats, which, I mean, I don't know anything more other than that comment, sounds painfully dull when you compare it to what you see in Dota and every team play in different ways.
Well, I am going to purposely hate on LoL, and I do know more. So another thing about LoL is that there are a lot of heroes that are so bad by design and don't get tweaked that there are a large proportion of, relatively large compared to Dota, section of the hero pool never and will never be picked in pro games. They're just completely dead heroes. They're just designed in such a way that they're unsavable. And that's just not the case at all in Dota. Every hero will, apart from maybe techies, every single hero will
have its spot in the...
Have its chance in the limelight, yeah. Even a hero like Klinks, it was really strong a while ago, and everyone was running it at TIA. It was a strong hero. So that was cool. And just some examples as well, like Monkey King, mid one does a monkey, Ame does a monkey, Sumail doesn't do a monkey. LGD, like I said earlier, the crit doing the Mars that no one else does in that position. We even saw Zai do a puck, which no one else did the entire tournament.
Some teams play Deucer, some don't.
Yeah, Ori Snorri Deucer.
LGD played Krob all the time when it wasn't a big pick, and now that it's better, I wonder if they'll start playing that even more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And also, Pango was a first phase respect bang against LGD in every game apart from one, in which they first picked Pango on FY and just crushed the game against Secret in game 1 of the lower bracket finals, and then from then on out it was back to being a first phase respect ban. So that's interesting. Sumail being an SF god is interesting, although mid one plays SF as well, and they won with it against LGD.
Secret also banned Pango quite often against EG.
Yeah, true.
Crit
Pango.
Plays Pango, yeah, 4.
It's always cool to see respect bans like that.
Venomancer, Zai did a Venomancer as well. That was cool. And then obviously Gambit crushing hit kids with the Earth Spirit and stuff.
Gambit was showing CIS Dota 101 in their wins, at least, just rolling over the enemy team with such pace that they couldn't respond and were kind of just totally outpaced.
Yeah.
In the true Russian style, running at heroes.
I saw some memes on Reddit about EG picking Spectre in the last 2 games of the grand finals. I don't know if that's I don't know why that's a meme. I guess I
was excited to see Spec again. They won the first game with it.
Yeah, they won the first game with it, and other teams have been played it as well. So I think it's fine. Yeah, Secret ran. Nisha loved a Spec as well. Final thing we'll talk about before wrapping up is just some players, like player performances. Obviously, we talked about. Actually, will we? Maybe. I'll shout out the Secret. Well, I'll shout out some more players. We mentioned Arteezy. We mentioned Sumail and Immersion and Zai. I thought Nisha and Arteezy were both godlike position 1 players in this tournament. They both looked like the best POS ones. Above Dahak and Arme and Matu and these other players. They're like, when I watch Nisha and Arteezy, particularly Nisha for me, but Arteezy also, they're just like the dream position 1s. They just farm immaculately, and yet sort of do they play almost how you imagine a anti-mage plays, where he's just farming like crazy, but suddenly turns up at the end of a fight nukes one or two heroes and then goes back to farming. Just like perfect carry play, just a 0% of dying, just clean up kills at the end of a fight and then go back to farming and then become monsters by the end of the game.
Yeah, the decision making of when to get involved in a fight, and not just in terms of, at what minute mark or what item do I need before I will get involved, but within a fight happening, at what point do they get stuck in? Maybe that's at the start or near the end. It's always perfect. It felt like they were bots on both teams. Like you couldn't fault them. I remember RTZ died once, or I remember him dying once in a game that was a mistake. I can't remember a mistake from either of those other two outside of that. It was literally like just bots how good the roll one was.
I think there was one mistake on Nisha in the anti-mage. Well, it's not even a mistake, but just he blinked into a camp that was very aggressive and died. But I think
that was the one when EG smoked, put a ward down, saw him farming. That was way more a good play by EG than a misplay by him.
No, not that one. There was another one where someone they didn't know Nisha was there. They were farming a medium camp, and Nisha just blinked onto it, and they were like, shit. Actually, I have a feeling he got away, but he took a load of damage.
So you do know the one I'm thinking of in the Dire Wood?
Yeah, I know the one you're thinking of, where they gank him on the way up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking of one where he's farming. So the camp where they ward, Nisha's farming the small camp, and they don't know he's there. They're at the shrine. They're literally shrining, using an active shrine, and then Nisha just blinks to farm the camp. But I don't think he dies actually, so maybe it's not a mistake. I think he miraculously got out. So Nisha and Yapzor were both godly.
Yeah. Also, Puppy got the MVP award of the tournament, and I think it was voted. Yeah, it was votes on the website just by the public. But I wouldn't have given him the MVP award. Like you say, Yapzor or Zai.
Yeah, I think
Nisha's always up there, but yeah.
Based on play, I think not Puppy, but based on when you consider the strats and the draft, it's probably Puppy, but then if you're considering those aspects, you probably always are just going to end up giving it to the captain. So, I don't know. I
don't think Puppy's work was as much as Zai, really.
No, I agree. I would have given it to Zai.
In the whole tournament, EG probably lost. I think EG's total losses in the whole tournament is
less than Secret.
Like a game less than Secret or something.
Oh, definitely. It will be more than that because they went through the upper bracket and Secret lost 3 games in the lower bracket in 2-1s or something.
Yeah, so Secret weren't totally cruising, but always were dominating in the best of 3.
You'd expect Secret to lose more games. I feel like they experiment a bit more.
Yeah, that's also true.
EG are just ruthless killers with their strats.
Yeah.
One thing I would say about carries, Arteezy and Nisha, it's like you said, Nisha's always going to be up there. If EG won, Arteezy's always going to be up there. But with these position 1s, what they do is not flashy, so it's hard to distinguish when they've had this incredible game because it's like they have a very robotic playstyle of just not dying, mega farming, and then carrying. They're not flashy. They're not as flashy as these other positions, so it's harder to give them an MVP award, if you know what I mean. But yeah. Anything else that we have to say?
Is there any heroes?
Yeah, do we want to talk about... I was going to say, maybe the only thing is yet to talk about is maybe anything that will happen in pubs.
I would have thought that we'll see a lot of Sven, just because that hero was always picked or banned, I felt.
And loads of different teams played him. In fact,
every team played him.
Every team played Sven, yeah. He was really good. It seems like he does the same thing as always, but it's just as good as always. Another thing that's interesting, I think in terms of pubs, I don't know if Adam, as someone who drafts in captain's mode, maybe this is something, I don't know if you're thinking about this in terms of laning configuration. In the grand finals, it seemed like we saw more try versus try than we did see 2-1-2 lanings. So I think the try lane is coming back more and more. I don't know what you think about that in terms of pubs or just drafting for RD Tour or anything. I
haven't thought about that really.
It could be,
but then Was that just the nature of Chen being in the game? Because you can drag people all over the place.
I think it's
it's more in general.
The tomb or tome. Is it tomb or tome? Tomb.
Double tomes. Yeah.
Tome. It's probably more a function of that.
Yeah.
That you can sacrifice XP on your 4 and 5 more readily when there's now 2 tomes.
I do like that I'm pretty much guaranteed a tome now. Feels good.
Yeah, it's nice. I think it will take more time to seep into pub Dota, but it's funny to even think of a time that we had where tri-lanes were the norm, but it was the norm. Like, certainly when I got into Dota,
yeah, the suicide off lane, dark days. I touched that lane like once in the year. Fuck playing suicide off lane.
But it's funny because the meta at this tournament wasn't suicide off lane. It was
no, it's not been that for ages.
Yeah, it's 2 3s having a 1v1 while both position 1s are tri-laned against each other.
Yeah. It makes for the most exciting Dota as well. Like, there's nothing fun for the viewer or player to see a 3 heroes versus 1.
Yeah, just crushing someone.
Yeah, there's actually no enjoyment for anybody.
Yeah, and that's definitely the worst lane. It's better to have even the 2-1-2s that have been dominating, and around TI7 time when it was 1-1-2 and you had a dedicated position 4 just roaming around forever. So it'll be interesting. It'll probably take a bit more time for the laning configuration. Laning configuration's a big deal in pub Dota. So I think 2-1-2 will dominate for a while longer, perhaps slowly losing its grip. We'll have to see.
Wait for R2DL to shape the meta.
Yeah, wait for Adam's crazy drafting. So, that pretty much does it for our new meta away day to ESL Brummie Town.
Brummie Town.
Yeah, man. It was funny because all the Americans pronounce it Birmingham, but all the Brits call it Birmingham. They don't pronounce the H.
You've been fantastic, Birmingham. Cap.
It's funny because Kyle actually has a really good UK accent. I don't know if you got to hear it, Marco, but he was doing UK accent impressions for a bit.
Was he?
Yeah, it was pretty good. But like Cap is Cap's just like an out and out American guy. So
yeah,
he didn't.
How did you say it, Adam?
Birmingham, but we have. Birmingham, Alabama. Like,
yeah, you've got a big place
thing here. Yeah, like there's a city in the US that's pronounced that way. So
spelled the same way.
Yeah,
spelled the same way. Yeah.
And I mean, that is how you would enunciate it if you enunciate every word. It's just that we don't say the H for some reason. Birmingham or Brummie or whatever. Anyway, so yeah, that's our ep on ESL. Hopefully it'll be back next year.
Honestly, give it a major, dude. Well, another major.
Give it TI, boy.
That was actually
give it TI.
Shout.
TI London 2020. I'm ready. So yeah, that was our episode about ESL. Hopefully join us again for episode 28. Thanks very much to Adam and Marco. Thanks especially to Adam for joining by on our ramblings about a tournament. Hopefully it wasn't too insufferable.
No, it was good. Thanks for thank you to VPNs for allowing me to do this while my Discord is banned.
Stan,
the school internet.
There's a shout out you missed.
I know. I missed it. I was going to say, is the shout out about your 1v1 mid?
No. Fuck talking about that. The guy from your pub.
Oh no, I missed it. Oh, I need to put that at the start because I don't even think he's going to be listening right now.
Oh really? It's not a warrior to make it to the end of an episode.
Oh, maybe.
Don't deserve a shout out if you're not going to listen to the end.
Okay, I'll shout him out. So, shout out to Lean Sipper, witch doctor in a game that said he was a fan of the pod and requested a shout out. So, major shout out to Lean Sipper. Hopefully meet you again in the Wild West that is Dota. Unranked duo queue with unranked players that have 10 games on their profile, which is a friend of mine that I was playing with at the time. I feel like I've got... I'll just put this out there for Adam because he might find it funny, but Marco...
Oh, I can't actually... Alright,
They had a stall where you played 1v1 mid against someone.
Absolutely.
No.
It went horrible.
Marco lost 1v1 mid, SF.
Oh man, it was actually the darkest time. Just some random...
Marco probably one of the highest ranked players outside of the players in attendance, getting crushed.
Yeah, honestly, I couldn't control my hero. It was so bad.
Was he like? Well, who did you lose to? Just
He was like, I'm putting him at 4K.
He knew what he was doing in a 1v1. I think he played before on a day. But anyway,
I couldn't control my hero. Dude.
It was so funny because you out-CS'd him so bad, but he just killed you with like a triple raise.
It's all. I just ran into these raids and was like, where am I going?
The funniest bit about it was he had to ask the referee, how many. This probably has never happened in the history of these things. People change their settings in Dota, but no one before Marco probably has gone into the control panel to turn on mouse acceleration because he can't play without mouse acceleration. I genuinely think you're the first player that's done that. "Quote unquote" enhanced pointer precision. So that always makes me laugh.
Mouse acceleration, that's gross.
Is it? How widespread does the gaming community know that this is gross? Because
it's super widespread. If you search in what settings do you need to change for like gaming, it's particularly bad for like Counter-Strike. People meme about it in Counter-Strike. Like this guy's playing with mouse acceleration, as in there's like a rip on a new player. I don't think it's as big a deal in Dota, but it's a general.
Flame from the.
It is just a
community.
general. It just does. It doesn't obviously. It clearly, because you're immortal, it's not that important, but it is objectively worse.
I could be a semi-professional if I change my mouse settings.
Yeah, I mean it's objectively worse to have it on.
Yeah.
But maybe you're so used to it that it would make your gameplay worse if you turned it off at this point. So you never know. So yeah, that was fun. It was fun watching Marco lose a 1v1 mid.
It was painful to lose it.
It was funny because you wanted to play a mirror matchup, but you didn't want to play SF versus SF. You were gunning for like a puck or a
I wanted to go some CS matchup and we'll slowly win. Instead, I just lose control and run into raises.
Yeah.
Whoops. Well, you really knocked down the credibility of our pod there. A few rungs, losing that 1v1.
Yeah, that's why I had to tell the story at the end of the pod.
Yeah, I'm hanging my mouse up.
No one here is left listening. So yeah, thanks for listening. We'll be back with episode 28 before you know it. I'm not 100% sure when this episode's going to be going out. Probably Friday. We would usually do a Tuesday episode this week, but we did a Tuesday episode last week because of the patch. So I think I'll just be releasing this one on a Friday. I might even do something wild and release it on a Wednesday or a Thursday and just say that we went to a LAN, so schedules be damned, but we'll see. But regardless, we'll be back here again shortly for episode 28. So until then, ta-ta.
GG.
Ta-ta.